Side claims that's why there's the Sean Hannity Show. All right, 25 till the top of the hour. Explosive fireworks at the hearing earlier today. Rod Rosenstein going before Ron DeSantis and Jim Jordan and Chairman Goodlatte and Trey Gowdy, the other chairman, and a lot of fireworks today. Let's go back. This is, let me play a couple of cuts. The first one is going to be Ron DeSantis asking why he hasn't recused himself, meaning Rod Rosenstein, from the Mueller probe, and why is obstruction of justice still being looked into, which is a great question. And also, Rod Rosenstein telling Congressman Matt Gaetz of Florida, well, he's not going to talk about FISA applications. He signed the fourth one, and no FBI agent briefed him on information that led to the FISA renewal. Well, don't you have to know and verify and corroborate everything in that? But listen to this.
You talk about the Mueller investigation. It's really the Rosenstein investigation. You appointed Mueller. You're supervising Mueller. And it's supposedly about collusion between Trump's campaign in Russia and obstruction of justice. But you wrote the memo saying that Comey should be fired. And you signed the FISA extension for Carter Page. So my question is to you, it seems like you should be recused from this more so than Jeff Sessions, just because you were involved in making decisions affecting both prongs of this investigation. Why haven't you done that?
Congressman, I can assure you that were appropriate for me to recuse, I'm more than happy to do so and let somebody else handle this, but it's my responsibility to do it. All I can tell you,
then how do you have obstruction of justice possibility for a president exercising his powers to fire an FBI director that you said should be fired? And oh, by the way, the IG report makes it clear Jim Comey should have been fired. So why are we still doing this with the Mueller probe?
the FISA renewal that you signed, list for me the people who briefed you on the substance of that FISA renewal to go and spy on people. The process, sir, is that these FISA applications and renewals first come up through the FBI chain of command. They are sworn under oath by a career federal agent.
All right, as we continue, this is a powerful hearing today. We're going to show a lot of it on Hannity tonight. Sarah Carter, investigative reporter with the Fox News Channel. Of course, she's been in the forefront of breaking many of these stories. Greg Jarrett, Fox News legal analyst, his book is now just a couple of weeks now away from being sent out to bookstores everywhere. You can get an early copy on Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com. There's a link on Hannity.com, and it's called The Russia Hoax, the illicit scheme to clear Hillary Clinton and frame Donald Trump. All right, let's go to... These are important questions. DeSantis, why didn't he recuse himself? Why is he not going to talk about FISA applications when he signed the last one? When we're told that the bulk of information came from the phony dossier, and telling Jim Jordan he didn't threaten people when we all have talked to people that say he did.
He won't answer any questions about the FISA warrant because the only answers he can give is, yes, we did deceive the FISA judges and we concealed material facts that Hillary Clinton was paying for the phony dossier to spy on the Trump campaign. So he won't answer that question, and he uses the typical vacuous excuse that this is still under investigation by the Inspector General. But in my book, I go through the law and the Code of Professional Responsibility that demands Rosenstein recuse himself. And the fact is, he is now prosecutor, investigator, judge, and jury all rolled into one, and that is absolutely prohibited, and it is a mandatory disqualification, and yet he refuses to do it.
Well, then that raises the issue of the legitimacy, and this is being argued by these 13, quote, Russia bot companies that Robert Mueller never thought would ever show up in court. He thought he was going to get to throw out Russia, Russia, Russia to create the image that Russians, had done all these nefarious things. Well, it turns out those companies are now being represented by a powerful and effective attorney. They just had an 80-page submission to the court saying that the entire investigation is illegitimate, and he took a different tack than the Manafort lawyers did. And what I find fascinating about this is it raises the entire legitimacy. When you have Peter Strzok at the heart of the Clinton, literally aiding Hillary Clinton and abetting Hillary Clinton and putting the fix in her investigation.
Right.
The same people are so anti-Trump right then thereafter begin going after Donald Trump, and we believe it probably started even earlier than that. And that raises the question of the whole legitimacy of the investigation from the get-go, because I think an argument can be made, and I'm asking you legally here, can you say it was tainted from the beginning?
Oh, absolutely. And is that an effective argument in court? Oh, it certainly is. Isn't it curious that one guy alone, Peter Strzok, is the lead investigator in the Hillary Clinton email case, and he's the one who sat down at his computer and changed the language to exonerate her. And isn't it interesting that then, on the very same day that Hillary Clinton is cleared, the FBI is meeting with Christopher Steele, the British spy who fabricated the dossier. And isn't it interesting that once the Trump-Russia collusion case morphs into the Robert Mueller special counsel case, yet again, the lead investigator is Peter Strzok. You know, Sarah, I can't say it any better than that. I think the argument is extraordinarily powerful, that if it is tainted from the outset, that the whole thing needs to be thrown out.
It's fruit of the poisonous tree, right? And that's what we're seeing here. I thought Gowdy said it great today, and I found his quote right here, but he said, "We've seen the bias. We need to see the evidence. If you have evidence of wrongdoing by any member of the Trump campaign, present it to the damn grand jury. If you have evidence that this president acted inappropriately, present it to the American people." There's an old saying that justice delayed is justice denied. I think right now all of us are being denied. Whatever you got, finish it the hell up, because this country is being torn apart.
But this is Washington. This is the pinnacle of cover-ups. This is what they do in Washington. You know, other than President Trump, not much gets done in Washington, and Congress is the perfect example. And when there's corruption, which is rampant in Washington, D.C. with the deep state, the cover-up, just like, you know, Watergate and Nixon, the cover-up is what takes over. And the Deputy Attorney General, Rod Rosenstein, and top officials at the FBI continue the cover-up, and the feckless Jeff Sessions is clueless. He could put a stop to it.
But Greg and Sean, I think this is so great because for the first time in a long time, people are being held accountable. They are being exposed to the American people. And had President Trump not won this election, we would have never known that all of this was going on. This is exposed because the American people voted for President Trump, because he won the election.
Let me ask another thing. I think this is really, really important. And actually what spurred my thought here is a National Review Online piece. And so you got the Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein saying that the lead investigator Peter Strzok's plot to rig the 2016 election to defeat then candidate Donald Trump was, quote, inappropriate. Okay, that's more than inappropriate. That would be illegal. These are crimes, and it's the biggest abuse of power scandal in our lifetime. Now, I want to ask this. How many times have we heard Democrats say that Russia's attempt or alleged attempt to rig the 2016 election, which, by the way, I believe they tried, but sure, they tried to create chaos and they supported both sides simultaneously, was far worse what they did with Strzok and what McCabe and what Comey and Page and all these people did, and McCabe, all these people trying to rig an election, and they were effective at it. They literally exonerated a guilty party who should have been charged with felonies.
Right.
And then they tried to frame, I'll use your words from your book, Greg Jarrett, they tried to frame the other candidate and bypass the will of the American people, and they've been on this witch hunt ever since.
Sure, this is to undo the election, to undermine democracy. And James Comey, if you start at page 190 of the Inspector General's report, and he admits he wrote 2 months before he cleared Hillary Clinton a statement which said he had found she was grossly negligent 110 times, representing 110 classified documents. A month, and so he's asked about that, and he said, well, yes, I wrote the statement, but I don't remember writing those words that she was grossly negligent. How can you not remember that moment that you memorialized in writing your finding that the presidential candidate, the then odds-on favorite to be the next president, had committed rampant felonies, but Comey can't remember it? And so a month later, there's a whole discussion for a month between McCabe and Comey and Rafiki and Baker and Strzok and Page, and they're all in on it. And they say, well,